Hello everyone, welcome to this session on Ansible. Today in this session I'm going to teach you guys what is Ansible exactly and then move on to understand how we can create our own Ansible playbooks. Alright, so guys, this is our agenda for this session. I hope it's clear to you. So let's move on and start off with the first topic, which is what is Ansible. Ansible, like Puppet, is just another configuration management tool. And what is configuration management? As we have already learned, it's nothing but installing softwares on multiple systems. For example, if you have a fleet of 150 or 200 servers and you want to do a particular software install on all those servers, if you do that manually, that will take a lot of time, right? And for that, we needed something which could automate the installation of softwares on multiple systems. And the way forward was configuration management. Right? And now what happens is any software that you want to install, you can do that on a single click of a button on all the servers which exist in your fleet using the master slave configuration, where on your master you would have the Ansible or Puppet master installed, and then on the slaves you just have to specify on which machine what to install, and everything will be done automatically. Right? This basically solves two things. The first thing is that the softwares which were installed, they were taking a lot of time if it were done manually, and now with Ansible or Puppet in the picture, where everything is happening automatically, it does not take that much time. Second thing is there is no room for error because everything happens automatically. Right? So if there was any error which could be committed while installing softwares, that is not the case now because everything is automated. So that is why configuration management as a concept became so popular, and that is why so many tools have been developed. And we have basically learned Puppet, and today we're going to learn Ansible, which yet again just solves the configuration management problem. Right? Now, some few facts about Ansible. So it was written by a person called Michael Dehan, right? And the name Ansible actually came from a fictional novel which was written by Ursula K. Le Guin in 1966, right? That's like 50 years before this novel was written. And there was a communication device in this novel, right? And the name of that configuration device was Ansible. So it is the name Ansible has been taken from there by Michael Dehan, right? And again, this software was acquired in the year 2015 by Red Hat. So now any updates or any features that are added to the software would basically be directed by the Red Hat company. But in its true nature, right now as well, Ansible software is open source and anybody can download it for free. Anybody can make changes to it because it is open source, right? So guys, as we discussed, that Ansible playbook is the core part of what Ansible does in its day-to-day activity, right? So whatever you write inside the Ansible playbook is actually executed on all the servers which are basically connected to the Ansible server. All right. Now, how do you write the Ansible playbooks? You write it in the YAML language, which is YAML int markup language, right? And this is the full form for that. And as we move along, I'm going to show you guys how you can start writing an Ansible playbook, right? So guys, Ansible playbook, let's focus on the word playbook first. Like, what is a playbook? A playbook means a book of plays, right? So a playbook essentially should have a lot of plays. So guys, you have the first level in the tree of playbook comes a play, right? And you can have multiple plays inside a playbook. Now, what is a play? A play is a combination of tasks that you want to do on a particular host, right? So you define a play, and inside the play you define the tasks that has to be done, and each task has something called as module, it has something called as notify, it has something called as handler, and a lot of other things as well, right? We will discuss these things in detail when we'll be talking about Ansible roles. For now, let's just focus on the word playbook. So like I said, playbooks has a lot of plays and each play has a lot of tasks, right? Now let us see how we can define a play in a playbook. So guys, in a play, you can have 2 or 3 tasks or 4 tasks or 10 tasks or any number of tasks written, and these tasks are executed on a particular host using a particular condition, right? And that's why it's called a play. What has to be played on a host? This is one play that is being played, which is it is executing a command in host 1, and then it is also executing a script in host 1. This is just an example, although we will be doing this in this session, but let us take an example that these are the two tasks which have to be done on a particular host. So they can be combined inside one play and then they can be executed. Similarly, if I want to execute a script on host 2 and install Nginx on host 2, this would become play 2. Okay. Now, how do you write, or how would this particular playbook look like on screen? This is how it will look like. Okay, now out of these, which are plays, what are plays and what are tasks? Let's look at that one by one, right? So guys, this particular block of code is one play wherein you have defined the hosts, right? So whenever you define the host, you start with a new line wherein you are defining the host. That becomes the starting of your second play. Okay, now the next thing is inside a play you have tasks. So as you can see, you have tasks over here, and the first task that we have is execute command date. This is the descriptive name of the task, right? So this does not get executed. This could be any string that you want to give, right? Second thing is you'll have to pass the command. Now what command has to be executed on the terminal? That same exact command you have to mention here. Okay, then the second name is execute script on server, right? So what is the script that you want to run? Test underscore script dot sh. This is the script that I want to run. So in this I have two tasks. One is execute command date. The next task is execute script on server. Every task will start with a name and has to be followed by a hyphen. Okay, hyphen marks the beginning of a new task. You specify the name of that task and then you specify how that task will be executed. All right, for example, in this case there should be a command which is being executed. In the next case there should be a script which has to be executed. The syntax will remain like this, right? Now whenever you're starting a new play, in that case also you have to begin with a hyphen. You specify the host name, that is this hosts colon and then host 1. Then whether that particular command or whether that particular play has to use sudo, we mentioned that. So if you want to use sudo in these commands, all you have to do is type in sudo colon and then say yes. Okay, then you give the name of the play. So the name of the play, it could be anything. Like I said, it's just a string. You can pass in anything over here. And once you've specified all these info, you start with the tasks, right? So this is play 1, guys. Similarly, now if you have to write play 2, I'll have to begin with hosts again, which I've done over here. Now where I want to run this particular play, I want to run it on host 2. What is the name that I want to give this play? I am calling it play 2. Do I want the sudo to run? Yes, I want the sudo to run. Then what are the tasks that I'm executing in this play? I want to execute script on server. This is the name. It could be anything. And then I specify the script which has to run on that particular host. Then I want to install a particular package. So I'll say the name of the task is install Nginx, and the task that I have to do is installation. So that's why apt is written over here. So when you're dealing with Ubuntu systems, you'll have to type in apt over here. If you're dealing with CentOS or Amazon Linux, the command over here would be yum. Okay, so apt colon and then the package name, which is Nginx, that I want to install, and the state is latest. So over here you basically specify the version that you want to install. So I want to install the latest version. So this is how you write a play. Now let us summarize what we just discussed. So we missed out on this thing that we always start a YAML file with 3 hyphens, right? So any time when you are starting with a YAML file, specify these 3 hyphens and only then begin with your playbook. So I start with specifying these 3 hyphens. Next thing I do is that I have to create a play. So for creating a play, I'll have to start with a hyphen. And the next thing that I'll have to specify are hosts, right? And the name that you're specifying for the hosts over here has to exactly match with the /etc/ansible hosts file. So whatever IP address you have mapped to the host name over there, right? That host name only you will be using over here. You cannot use some other host name. Okay, once you have specified that, the next step was to specify the tasks. So each play is like a dictionary and has name, host, tasks, and the order doesn't matter, right? So you have the name, you have the hosts, you have the tasks. So it becomes a dictionary. So it has all these information, each play, and once you define that and execute that, then it executes according to what is asked inside that particular play. All right. So when you're writing a playbook, that becomes a list of dictionaries. So if this is one dictionary where you have hosts, name, and tasks, and this is some other dictionary where you have the separate version of host, name, and tasks, when you combine them together inside a playbook, it become a list of dictionary. Okay. So again, seeing what tasks are nothing but they are basically commands that we want or tasks, or I can say things that we want to do on the remote server from the Ansible master. Those are termed as tasks. Then the next step would be to basically creating a playbook. How can we create a playbook? So first, let me just move on to my Ansible master. So guys, this is my Ansible master. What I want to do is I'll create a directory called Ansible. Okay. So this is my directory. Now I'll go inside Ansible. This is my Ansible directory, guys. Now the first thing that I'll do is I'll create a playbook. Okay. So let's create a playbook called sudo nano play.yaml. Okay. This is my playbook. Now I want to create a playbook wherein I will be installing the Apache software on my host 1, which I defined in my host file. Now how can I do that? The first step that you have to do in creating an Ansible playbook is define these 3 hyphens. Once you have done that, now you have to start with a play. How can you create a play? Start with a hyphen and specify the hosts. So I want to do this particular play on host 1. Okay. Then do I want sudo? Yes, I want sudo. The name of this play, let's call it play 1. Okay. And now let's specify the tasks. Okay. Now inside the task, guys, the first thing that you would do is you'll have to define a task. So let's name the task something. So let's call it install Apache. Okay. Let's call it this. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the package name apt, and let's say the so if you want to see the syntax for that, the syntax is actually available here. So apt, and then you specify the name of the package that you want to install. So the name would be Apache 2 and the state is going to be latest. Okay, this is all you have to do when you're creating a play. All right, let's start by this. Let's see if this is working or not. So my play is now ready, right? Let's check if I can ping my host 1. So Ansible -m ping host 1. So it says could not match supplied host pattern. Okay, so I think that's because the name is slave 1. Yes, so the name is slave 1. So let's change that in our YAML file as well. So sudo nano play.yaml and the host name is slave 1. Okay. Now let's try to run this playbook. Now how can I run this playbook? Type in Ansible -playbook space play.yaml. Once you specify this playbook will start executing. Now before I execute this playbook, guys, let me quickly show you on my management console that if I go to slave 1 right now and if I go to this IP address, nothing is visible over here, right? It says the site can't be reached. Okay, now let me come back to my master. I'll execute this playbook. So now it is installing Apache. It will take some time, guys, because software installations take some time. So you can expect around 15 to 20 seconds it will take to basically install or do this particular task. And once this task is done, what I can do is, so as you can see, it says task, the change has been successfully done, and OK is equal to 2, changed equal to 1, and nothing has been failed. Now, if I want to do this, all I have to do is come back here, refresh it, and as you can see, the Apache software is now successfully installed on my slave 1. Awesome. So I have successfully done something on a remote system, right, which is this. So now what I'm going to do is, let me just uninstall Apache. Sudo apt get purge Apache 2. I'll just uninstall the package and I'll tell you why I'm doing that. So my package is being uninstalled. Now if I do a refresh here, you can see I'll again not be able to reach to this particular server. Now what I want to do is I want to add one more host to my Ansible cluster. So let us do that. Let us launch an instance. It has to be an Ubuntu instance, and the processor is t2.micro. Security group, I'll select an existing one. Review and launch. I'll launch it with my key pair, and now it's ready. Okay, so my server is being launched. Let's call it Ansible 3.1. Okay, and now if I go to my running instances, I can see that a new instance is now being launched. Now what is the IP address of this instance? It's this. So let's copy this and launch a putty terminal. Let's select the color to be white so that we can differentiate it easily. Okay, let's click on open, and now let's log into our instance. Alright, so I've successfully logged in. Now how do you add a host? All you have to do is update the machine, sudo apt get update, and the next step would be to install Python, sudo apt get install Python. Once this is done, I'll just have to go back to my master. I'll have to make the keyless SSH possible, and for that I'll have to do an cd into the SSH directory, and then I'll have to do a cat on id_rsa. Okay, this is the code that I'll be copying on my slave 2. Okay, so this is my slave 2, guys. Now I'll be going inside the SSH directory, and I'll be going inside the authorized key file, and now let's add this entry over here, save the file, and now let's try to SSH from over here. SSH ubuntu @ this is the IP address that I'm going to connect on, and yes, I'm able to log into my slave. So to verify, this is the IP address 172.31.29.34, and if I check it over here, it's 172.31.29.34. Awesome. So let us remove this. So let us exit the SSH connection, and now I'll have to add this host in the Ansible host file. So in order to do that, I'll have to do a nano on /etc/ansible/hosts. Okay, and now let's just scroll down and add one more slave over here with this name, Ansible_SSH_host is equal to this IP address that is of the slave. I'll add this, I'll save the file, and now if I do a Ansible-m ping all, I should get 2 servers ready over here. Okay, awesome. Now why did I do that? Alright, so now let us go to inside Ansible, right, and let's try to edit our playbook. Let's try to add one more play inside this. So I'll add a play, and let's say I am doing it for slave 2. Okay, I want sudo to be there. I want the name of the play should be play 2. Okay, the tasks that I want to execute are as follows. So the first of all, the name of the task would be to install, let's say I'm installing Apache on this system, and I want to install Nginx on my slave 1. Okay, so let's change all the things accordingly. So I'm installing Nginx on my slave 1 now, and I'm installing Apache on my slave 2. Okay, so name is equal to Apache 2, state is equal to latest. Alright, seems cool. Now I will be executing this playbook, and let's see how it goes. So basically with one command, what we are doing is we're installing software on 2 different systems, right? And the software that we're installing are also different, right? So this is the IP address for my slave 2. So as you can see, if I'm going to the IP address, I can't reach anywhere. Similarly, if I'm going to this IP address, I can't reach anywhere. Okay, now let's come back to our master. Alright, now let me execute this command. So it is Ansible-playbook and then play.yaml. Okay, So let's execute this. So it is executing play 1. It is installing Nginx on my slave 1. All right. Okay. So it has been done. Now we are executing play 2 and I'm installing Apache. So as you can clearly see right now, if I show you the browser, my server 1 is already ready and it says welcome to Nginx. Awesome. And my slave 2 is also done. So if I go here and if I refresh, I can see the Apache page. All right. So I've configured two different servers from my master, right, at the click of one button, right? I just executed one playbook which configured two servers of mine, installed two different softwares on it based on the name that I specified. All right. So awesome, guys. I think we have almost begin we are almost a beginner now with the playbooks. I'm sure you guys can also write your playbooks, but let's take it a notch up. Let's try to do something else as well. Now if you have to execute scripts on remote system, how can you do that? Okay, so in order to do that, all you have to do is you'll have to create a script first in the same directory where your playbook is present. So I have my playbook present in this directory, that is Ansible, right? So in this, let me create a script. So let's say I create a script called hello.sh, and what I want to do in this particular script is I want to create a file. Let's call it let the content be hello world for that particular file, and I want to put it in /var/www/html. Okay, I want to put it over here. Let's see how it goes. So and the file name has to be one.html. So in this case, what is going to happen is that I'm going to execute this on slave 2 where my Apache is basically installed, and that should basically create a website automatically. And if I go to this particular IP address and I go to /1.html, if I hit enter, it should basically show me the web page over here. Let's see how we can do that. So I've created this script, guys. So let's save the script, and now let's try to make it an executable file. So let me make it executable. So I'm just changing the permissions for this file, right? And this has to run in sudo. All right, so my script is now ready. Now I'll go inside my playbook, guys. So I'll go to sudo nano play.yaml, and I want to do this task on my Apache server, right? So I'm inside my Apache play, and I'm adding a new task now, which is adding website. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to run that script. So I'll type in script : and what is the name of the script? hello.sh. That's all I have to do. Now let's save this play, and now let's try to run this play. So I'll do a Ansible -playbook, and I want to run this play. Okay, let's see how it goes. Nginx is installed. Okay, so on slave 1 everything was executed, everything is same. So it says okay equal to 2, changed equal to 0. On my slave 2 there's one file that got changed. Now let's try to do a refresh over here. Can you see? Automatically a website was created which is now called hello world. Now let me show you one more awesome thing over here. Now I'm not going to any of those servers, right? This is my slave 2. I'm not going over here. I'm still on my master. Now what I can do is I can just simply change the script file. So if I change the script file to be say I'll go inside the script file, I change the text to hello world 12. Okay, mind you, I'm not going to any other server. I'm just running the same command again. Right, again the commands will run. As you can see, it says on slave 2 there's one change, and if I refresh it now, can you see the website has changed automatically, right? And this has changed without me going onto this server. And this is the power of configuration management, guys. Now imagine you have 100 servers and you have to change a file in all those 100 servers. How do you do that? It is impossible to do it manually. I'm saying it is impossible because time is of the essence when you're working in businesses, right? So you can do it using Ansible in this kind of way, right? Now let us come back to a slide, guys. So if I'll come back to my slide, all right. So now we created our first playbook. In this particular example also, they're basically running a command and then they are running a script. So we did similar thing. right? But when you're executing a command, basically you cannot see the output. That's why I changed this particular demo, but you can also try this demo also. So the syntax is clearly visible over here. You can just write the syntax in a YAML file and then try to execute it and see how it works for you. You can also create a demo for your own self as well and see how things work out. All right. So we created the first playbook using this particular command, and we created this shell file or the script file like this, right? And then we changed the permissions for that script file. Once everything was ready, we executed the Ansible playbook, and the script file was automatically taken up and shifted, or basically copied to the slave that I want to execute it on, and then my playbook was basically executed. All right. So guys, this is how you create a playbook. So thank you guys for attending today's session. I hope you have learned something new today. So see you again in the next session. Goodbye and have a great day ahead.